That'll put another hole in the elephant right there, boys.
I thought he wasn't working there.
Hello, everyone.
20th Century Fox did not produce this.
No, they did not. But who did produce this is Lorenzo di Bonaventura, and I am your host, Diego Crespo.
I'm glad you also thought to write that down.
No, I have the Wikipedia page open.
Oh, okay. Because that guy's interesting. We'll talk about him in a second.
Okay, good. I don't know that much about him, but yeah, that is my co-host Matt Garingo.
Hi.
Hi. Weird opening on this one for a not super weird film, but we're here to continue our failed Blockbusters series, which has been an odd ride, to say the least, because every film has been so radically different.
Mm-hmm.
This one might be the most normal film we're going to talk about.
This is the one that is, like, of the ones we're talking about, is the most slam dunk should be a hit movie of anything we're going to talk about.
Yeah, it's director Kim Ji-woon's The Last Stand, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and a bunch of people, and also Johnny Knoxville, who got co-billing on the poster because he's Johnny Knoxville.
Above fucking Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, here you go. I'll do the rundown. Above Forrest Whitaker, Rodrigo Santoro, who's not that big of a star, but you'll know him if you see him. Jamie Alexander, who was riding high on the Thor franchise at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Luis Guzman.
The Goose.
Peter Stormare, who is just incredible in everything. I don't like when he's not in movies at this point. Yeah. Zach Gilford, Genesis Rodriguez, another one if you'll recognize her if you see her. But yeah, a fun cast.
A lot of these people are people you recognize, you know.
Yeah.
Or be like, oh, I've seen them in like some TV thing, and then you don't remember it. But yeah, fun cast. Arnold Schwarzenegger's return to the big screen after a decade. It was his first lead role since Terminator 3: Rise of the Machines.
Yeah. Thanks for being my governor, I guess. I don't know enough about his reign to contest it. I'm not that well versed on California politics, but he didn't fuck us up for life, so good job.
He might have.
Okay. Never mind.
He might have. He also like kind of got into politics because of Enron. That's a whole story.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to give Arnold some credit, nowadays he just goes on Twitter and will like hold the Conan sword and like call out fascists. Like,
yeah, look, no one's perfect, but that Schwarzenegger video is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's like that's what I want Arnold to be doing in retirement from politics.
Yeah, quite frankly, I am glad he can't run for president. That's what I'll say about Arnold's politics.
Yeah.
But I like him as an actor and like as a celebrity.
It is kind of nuts that it's like Ronald Reagan, actor. Arnold Schwarzenegger, actor. Jesse Ventura, actor. And then fucking Donald Trump, reality show host. Pretend businessman.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, and I think that feeds into like the weird. We're already getting into like Arnold's whole thing, but I think one of the things about Arnold is that you can kind of imagine that movies like this, Commando, Predator, it's like all the same guy in some weird way, because Arnold can't not be Arnold.
Mm-hmm. Except for Total Recall,
I guess.
There's enough going on there.
But I'm just saying, like, even like it's just always Arnold. So whenever his characters have a fun line, it's like Arnold had a good line, you know? Whereas like the exact counterpart, Stallone, there is a difference between Rambo and Rocky, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can differentiate the two. Whereas Arnold is just Arnold.
Yeah, I know Stallone's in a weird place politically as well. Cause,
I know, yeah,
but he's a fantastic actor. When he has the material, he's so good.
It's such a shame.
Yeah. I said it in 2015. I was bummed when he didn't win for Creed for Best Supporting Actor. That was like a slam dunk.
So teed up for him to do it.
Yeah. The other dude got it, and he's like good, but come on, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Anyways, The Last Stand. Should we talk about production more, or should we just talk about our thoughts for a second?
Let's talk about our thoughts for a second. What did you think, Diego?
I liked the first half a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Once it gets going for the titular Last Stand, it's like so close to a 5-star movie.
Yeah, it's like this movie is a build up to The Last Stand.
Yeah, and
like,
it's consistently entertaining. I was actually surprised that I was like, oh, there's only 45 minutes left. Like, it's a film all about setup and payoff, like, in its DNA. It's not just there for, like, fun flourishes. And that's all it tries to achieve, and it succeeds completely, you know?
It is a total crowd pleaser. Like I said, it's a crowd pleaser. It, like, in its setup, it is like, this is going to be a solid movie, and then now it's here on our failed blockbuster list.
Yeah. The budget was $45 million. And it only made $48.3 million. It was a January release.
It kind of kneecaps Schwarzenegger's whole, like, comeback. Because he never really, like, you know, it still feels like there's the Arnold Schwarzenegger comeback coming, you know?
Mm-hmm. And look, I'm no fan of it at all. But Terminator Genisys did pretty well. Like, considering...
But I think that is the other death nail for him, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, because that is easily the worst Terminator movie.
There's
which
some
is
competition,
shocking,
but yes.
Mick G directed one of them.
Yeah.
But like that's easily the worst Terminator film. The one that like just doesn't understand why people like the Terminator films, right?
Yeah, it's not to talk about them again, but like it's kind of the Marvel presents Terminator.
A little bit, yeah. And it's trying to just rewrite the franchise, and it's like people don't want you to rewrite the franchise.
Yeah, people just... I mean, that's what it comes down to with a lot of franchise stuff in general, not to talk about something else already, but, like, don't rewrite anything, just do a good one. Do a good movie. There's
tons of... And then the sad thing is that Dark Fate is, like, really good. We've both talked up Dark Fate.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we were supposed to be talking about, but then we just ended up talking about Dark Fate, but we did an episode where we talked about Dark Fate.
Yeah, it was something else, and we both surprisingly liked it. That's like a 3-star movie, 3.5 if you want to get really specific.
3.5.
Yeah. It is not as good as The Last Stand, but like there's enough going on in that movie, and it's got a heart.
But Dark Fate bombed. Like Dark Fate was a bomb, and to bring it back to the Stallone comparison, Stallone seems to know like what to do with his characters and like his comebacks,
except for the recent Rambo.
Yeah, but like even then, like I think that appealed to its audience. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, yes.
Like I think it appealed to its. I'm not talking in terms of quality, really, just in terms of like being out there and like being a name. Where it's like because he has brought Rocky and Rambo back twice now.
Yeah.
Like he's done both of those guys twice, and now it's like and off of the first time he did it, that's how he got like the Expendables films, and that's how he started like this weird little mini comeback. He got Walter Hill out of retirement.
Oh yeah. Oh,
to make a movie that no one liked and it bombed.
I liked that one. I thought it was solid.
I have not seen it. I've been meaning to.
I believe it came out around the same time as this one.
Yeah,
and it got it's like I remember it getting better reviews, which I would not agree with. I was just going to bat for it, but this is a better movie than that.
Yeah, well, I think it was that thing of people like when does like Expendables 3 come out?
2014, I believe.
Yeah, like that's like the time when it's like everyone's like run out of goodwill for those movies, you know?
Yeah,
and like so that's like all right, then everyone's on the downturn again. Arnold, like, enters when the downturn is happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because this is 2013.
And then Stallone has just kind of done his comeback yet again with Creed and then Last Blood. And now he's, like, he's cameoing in, like, Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And now he's fucking King Shark in a fucking superhero film. Like, he's doing the, like, this is what late-era Stallone is probably going to be, you know?
Yeah.
And Arnold, like, still kind of hasn't found that yet. Even though I think he has picked much more interesting projects than Stallone.
I agree.
In the past, like, decade.
I don't know if you saw Maggie.
Maggie's terrific.
Okay, I don't think it's terrific, but it's a very good movie.
For what it is.
No, totally. It's a very low budget movie, and Schwarzenegger does like kill it in that movie.
Yeah.
Which is like shocking to say about him as an actor.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if it was him or like the directing, but something, something clicked there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, there's another movie that we maybe will talk about another time.
Mm-hmm.
He does like Escape Plan the same year as this, which I think was kind of positioned as like that will actually be the comeback movie.
Oh yeah, because Stallone is also in that, and
yeah, Stallone's also in it. But then it's like you guys already did Expendables 2, so it's like not as like unique to put those guys together now.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when he was like in all the trailers for Expendables 1, and that was like his whole scene?
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think that hurt him more than helped him.
I think so too.
Like if that had been a cameo that we weren't expecting, that would have been like, oh fuck, when is he coming back? You know, it would have been a good preview for what came later. But instead, that didn't happen. Did you see Aftermath?
No, what is that?
Aftermath is this really fucked up like drama kind of like revenge movie about like the aftermath of, if I remember correctly, Schwarzenegger's family died in like a plane crash. And it's like a drama film.
Matt, be honest. Is it about 9/11?
No, it is not.
Okay.
It is not. It is not. I would say it.
Okay.
Firsthand.
Okay.
But it's not like amazing, but it's Arnold like going for like a straight kind of drama role almost.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like really fascinating. It's very dour. There is a theme of him picking very dour films now that he's back.
Yeah, and it's not even that he like can't do it. It's just the movies aren't clicking with people for some reason.
Yeah. Then he does like, did you see Killing Gunther? Did you see that?
No.
Killing Gunther was a movie. It's a comedy film made by Taron Killam, who was on SNL.
Oh, I did hear about this. Yeah.
It's a movie where it's like they're trying, these assassins are making a documentary about getting together to kill the top assassin, this guy named Gunther. Now, clearly, I have seen it. Clearly, the joke was supposed to be, you find out at the end it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, whoever bought the theatrical rights to it decided to put Arnold on like every poster and in every trailer.
Oh.
Even though he only shows up in like the last 10 minutes.
No way.
Yeah, it works if you approach the film in the way that like that was supposed to be a surprise, but it's not.
Oh.
I'm looking at the poster right now, and it's him, and like Taron Killam is like right behind him.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's that's like someone like a marketing thing that kind of fucked it up.
Yeah. Is it worth checking out?
I had a fine time. It's not like, I wouldn't say it's like a masterpiece, but it has its moments. Bobby Moynihan's in it, and I just think that guy is fucking hysterical.
Oh yeah, I will always refer to him as my Last Jedi buddy. So yeah.
Hopefully he liked Last Jedi.
Hey, look, I saw everyone in our row at least, and I heard sniffles throughout that movie. I heard the cheers. We were clapping. We've talked about it enough, but people are fucking bullshitting themselves if they didn't like that on first viewing.
Did you go to a single theatrical experience of Last Jedi that wasn't like, the audience wasn't through the roof?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Everyone's out of their fucking mind.
And then now let's compare that to the Rise of Skywalker audience.
Yeah. Which everyone was like, yeah, halfway through people stopped reacting to that movie.
Yeah, halfway through it's just dead in the theater. Like, it was like a fucking dead body. Like, I'm just, which, and like, we're two of the bigger defenders of that movie. Yeah. And still, it was garbage.
And you know what? Like, Schwarzenegger doesn't need like a Star Wars level hit to come back. Like, as this is the last great Arnold role or anything like that. I remember early tidbits of like Avatar 2 when Cameron was really gearing up production at the beginning of the 2010s, like 2013, 2014, I think. Where like I think it was rumored that Schwarzenegger was going to be the villain, and then that was like debunked, and that didn't happen. But people got really excited about that. And I think it's because people do like Arnold as an action star.
Yeah, I think there's a way to use him that no one has really found out. Like, no one can figure it out, really. And I liked him in Dark Fate, even though like he is kind of like a glorified cameo in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like he only shows up in the third act, which was the right way to use him, which I think is the mistake of Genesis, is that he was so front and center. You know.
I mean, it's also directed by Alan Taylor. But no, the Carl character, as we'll call him from Dark Fate.
Yeah.
That, you know what? That's a very sweet, touching little role.
Yeah. It's great, and it's a weird like here's a movie that you didn't know happened, like, and it's terrific. And now it's like I'm looking at his filmography, and it's like his next role is the president in the fucking Kung Fury sequel.
I'm not ashamed of all my takes from the mid 2010s. Mm-hmm. I am a little ashamed of being enamored with the original Kung Fury, though.
What was that?
I think that was like the boiling point of internet epic lol bacon culture, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's just like, oh yeah, that was popular at one point.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I'm like,
sorry, everyone.
Oh my god, Michael Fassbender's in it.
Yeah, he's Hitler in it. He's the Kung Fuhrer.
It doesn't say that here.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he is.
Oh, well, it says...
Good luck, everyone.
It says another guy's playing Hitler.
Oh, really? Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. It says the Lonely Island guy is doing it.
Oh.
Whatever. That's a bad idea. Yeah, the Kung Fury thing, I also think underrated. There was an era, which I think is what saved SNL, too. When I remember in the Tumblr era, there was something about you could take a screenshot from something, and the screenshot would actually be funnier than watching it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Kung Fury had that energy. Where if you saw a screenshot of Kung Fury out of context, it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But if you actually watch it, it's like the least funny thing you've ever seen. And SNL also had that energy where like you could take a screenshot from their skits, but to actually watch it is like not funny.
And now it's just not funny.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. People they're like defenders of SNL.
Yeah, I'll tell people to their face they're wrong about that.
I've never really understood it. Although I'm like the one guy in America that like didn't get Stefan.
I think I just like Bill Hader.
Yeah, but like even that's not funny.
Bill Hader's funny.
Bill Hader's funny, but like it's just him saying weird things.
I mean, that did kind of pass for comedy for like a decade.
But am I supposed to be there being like, oh yeah, we all know a guy like Stefan? Like, I don't know a guy like Stefan. Or is like it's supposed to be like am I supposed to be like, oh, that's what people in LA are like, you know? I don't understand. I never got Stefan. I'm sorry.
Stefan retrospective?
Absolutely not. The only thing funny about Stefan was like Bill Hader breaking.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's the one thing that will always be funny, you know?
But it's like, that's just funny because you're watching someone laugh.
Yeah, I mean, like, the best stuff of SNL in, like, the last decade are the Ryan Gosling stuff. Because he just can't. He just can't.
Yeah, he can't not laugh.
Yeah, and he's great.
Also, when it's a, like, digital thing, he totally commits.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he...
Oh, the Avatar one, the Papyrus one? That's, like, a genuinely funny bit.
I will say, I gotta say, like, I hate to give credit to something like this, but, like, that David Pumpkin sketch is actually like a well-written comedy sketch.
You know what? Yeah.
It has one thing that so many comedy sketches don't have, which is an ending. It has a joke ending, which makes sense.
And the skeletons are...
part of it. But then, like, again, David Pumpkins was like a surprise thing, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And it aired like a week before Halloween. Suddenly everyone was David Pumpkins at Halloween. And then, like, there was, like, 30 more David Pumpkins thing after that, which no one has talked about.
Have there really? I thought they did one more, but, like...
They did, like, a whole Halloween special hosted by David Pumpkins.
Oh, that's embarrassing. That's too bad.
Yeah, like...
Well, you know, you're already
like,
seeing, like, because the Weeknd meme on Twitter, where Daniel Craig introduced The Weeknd right before COVID hit. It's, like, this eternal bit now online.
Yeah,
and it will continue to be so until Saturday Night Live gets a hold of it. And then they're going to, like, smash it into the ground.
Yeah, once they get Daniel Craig back to do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it's like, think about that, though. That's funnier than anything SNL did in the last year.
Yeah.
Like, where everything's just embarrassing.
You didn't like the Super Mario skit?
You know what? I've only seen the picture, so I can't fully judge it.
Why'd you be like one guy that was like, no, that was funny?
It feels wrong of me to judge a comedy skit I have not seen.
Oh, okay.
I have some integrity, Diego. How dare you?
Okay.
I mean,
what do we think about the comedy in The Last Stand, to bring it back?
All right, here's something I guess going to be like, this is directed by Kim Ji-woon, who's a...
Sorry, I thought, because you were like, this is directed, and then I'm like, that moment.
No,
it is directed, and that's a benefit over most of the action movies we've seen in the last 5 years.
One thing I was going to say, it's directed by Kim Ji-woon, who's a South Korean director. He did The Good, the Bad, the Weird, and I Saw the Devil, which are like 2 fucking crazy movies.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting director, and I have a certain fascination with foreign directors making American action films.
Yeah.
Because you always get like a window into how they view America.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like classic shit where it's like, all Americans wear cowboy hats. All Americans have guns. And it's like, yep. That's a take.
It also might be accurate.
It's not inaccurate. I'll say that. But it's like also something where it's like John. It's weird where it's like Schwarzenegger was clearly like part of the funding. I'm guessing Johnny Knoxville was part of getting the budget for this. Like the whole idea was Schwarzenegger Knoxville. Like that's the poster, right? So I don't know if the director had anything to do with it, but you feel like he maybe had a choice in like Luis Guzman, or like Peter Stormare, or Harry Dean Stanton showing up. Like, those feel like maybe were his choices.
Mm-hmm.
And it just gives like an interesting view of like his take on the American action film.
No, I'm glad you said that, because this did remind me like, okay, Verhoeven, his first English language film was what's that? Fire and Blood?
Flesh and Blood.
Flesh and Blood, thank you.
Yeah.
But then RoboCop is this big American film. And he's, that film's, he's talking about like, oh, this is like a story about progress at the expense of like individuals and stuff like that. And then you've got John Woo's Hard Target, which is his first American film. It's a story about rich people hunting poor people for money and sport. Yeah. I really am glad you brought that up. This would make a nice trilogy with those. I think those are superior films, but if you want to get like a deeper reading into how other film cultures view America, it's not a bad way to go.
Well, I also think of Paul Verhoeven's Basic Instinct, where
the horniest film ever made.
I mean, there's that, but there's also just like a cowboy bar in the middle of it. And it's a movie like set in L.A. And it's like, oh yeah, his partner on the weekend dresses up like a cowboy, goes to a cowboy bar. We all have a friend who does that.
Yeah, yeah. I will say actually, maybe not the heart of L.A., but a lot of Latinx communities here. There are definitely... You'd be surprised what places actually house horses and stuff like that.
There's a difference. I gotta say, there's a difference between that and, like, white guy cowboys in L.A. is all I'm saying.
Okay,
like, that makes more sense, but, like... No, like... We have fake cowboys now in America. White guys are all fake cowboys now.
Yeah.
Where it's like Ted Cruz putting on, like, a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
You know? We had a president who was a fake cowboy. The only one in that family who actually had a Texas accent. Like, that's a weird American thing. We're all cowboys. And this movie is, like, straight up trying to be like a Western.
Oh, yeah. It's like the ideal modern Western.
It's like High Noon. Like, it's like the bad guys are coming to town. Gotta do something about it. And it's totally like, instead of, like, a horse chase, there's a chase with, like, cars. Like, instead of the train coming to town, there's, like, this tank, like, with a bridge on it. Like, it's all these, like, very weird choices that, like, feel like it's trying to be an American action film. And it also feels a little throwbacky because we don't really make action movies like this anymore.
And this isn't even a decade old.
I know, but like, but I'm not even saying like it felt like a throwback when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it felt like a '90s action movie a little bit.
I had that in my notes. If this came out in the '90s, it would be like a stone cold classic.
Yeah, and like unfortunately, I think throwback is getting thrown around a lot today to describe a movie where it was like, we didn't intend this to be a throwback movie, but we made a bad movie, so we're gonna call it a throwback movie, and hope idiots believe it. Like, that seems to be like a new marketing term. But this genuinely feels like a 90s action movie. And the only difference is I feel like the 90s action film, everyone except Schwarzenegger would die.
Yeah, I think it would be a little angrier. Because this isn't like a mean-spirited film.
No. It's actually got a lot of heart to it.
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't think it would, because I did watch this
Which is weird
years
if you've
ago.
seen,
But,
if you've seen I Saw the Devil, which is like a very crazy, mean film. Did you see this in theaters?
No, I didn't see it in theaters, but I did, it was on cable or something like that, and I was like, hey, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
You know? And now I like it even more. Like, maybe it's just me missing, like, filmmaking. But, like, because I've seen some stinkers this year.
Well, a movie where we're not going in where it's like, this is a character we've seen 1,000 times because it's on a lunchbox somewhere.
Yeah, maybe, but, like, even, like, just the way standard coverage, quote unquote, is shot in this film, it's like, well, what's the most interesting way to frame this? And it's like, well,
Yeah.
it'd be kind of cool if we saw people coming in from this angle. We put the camera back here in this corner. We kind of follow them, and then we'll kind of turn it. And it's like, you don't need to film this like a Hitchcock thriller.
Yeah.
But there are
Let's
moments
do this
where,
whole
like...
weird scene where Harry Dean Stanton and Peter Stormare face off, and one of them's on a tractor.
Yeah, why did he shoot it that way? It's not...
Yeah.
It's like the right way to shoot that scene for this director, but it's like, an American director would never think of that.
No, and would never be encouraged to do that. Like, and I do think there was something, like, this is like the weird last gasp movie of, like, older Hollywood. This is produced by Lorenzo di Bonaventura.
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 Sure.
Apologies. He has a connection to this series we're doing because he was the head of Warner Brothers until like 2002.
Oh.
He was an executive of Warner Brothers, had his hand in shit like The Matrix, Harry Potter, and Wild Wild West.
Wow.
And The Unmade Superman Lives. I believe he was a big part of that, like the Death of Superman Lives documentary.
Oh, well, thank you, Lorenzo.
Yeah, he's an interesting character, and he was like a guy where like he had set up his own company, he'd been making movies. He also has a big hand in those Transformers movies.
That one I did know.
But if you look at his filmography and you see like a movie that comes out, and then you're like, "Fucking, how did this get made?" Like, this feels like a movie that should have been made 10 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. He probably produced it. Like, he's got a lot of those under his belt. Like shit like Stardust or Red. Did you ever see Red?
I did. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. Yeah.
Like Salt.
Yeah, I was about to say Salt, which is like a good movie, and everyone was kind of waiting on a sequel that just never happened.
You know, I never saw Salt.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. Angelina Jolie, one of our greatest movie stars, kind of needs to be back in the spotlight, if you ask me. But that's another conversation.
She got the Eternals coming.
I don't have anything there.
You know what I gotta say though? I think the fact that all the jokes in that trailer were terrible is actually a good sign.
Why?
Because that means they couldn't find jokes to put in the trailer.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
If there were better jokes, they would have been in the trailer.
I guess so. Yeah.
So that gives me some hope.
Yeah.
I always, whenever I see a movie where the trailer feels kind of off, or where the humor dies in the trailer that's not a comedy, that always I'm always a little interested in the movie. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to pay attention to that one. And sometimes there's something happens. Sometimes you get like a fucking, oh god, what the fuck was that movie? Mortal Engines.
Yeah.
Where it's like all those trailers felt bad. Mm-hmm. You watch and you're like, oh, that's because they did not know how to market this. And that's the hope I'm getting, because Marvel, say we will about them, they know how to fucking market their shit. So if they suddenly can't market a movie, that gives me hope.
Yeah, it's kind of like the James Gunn thing. I have faith in this filmmaker. I don't have faith in them, like, in the post-production pipeline. But we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
I'm pro Chloe Zhao.
Yeah, but now I'm worried that because of the reaction to that trailer, there's going to be, like, a fucking brouhaha behind the scenes.
I don't know. The general response was pretty positive, I felt.
I don't know. All I saw was people dunking on it.
But to be fair, I like our familiar corners of film Twitter, that's very common.
But even the people that aren't anti MCU were also making jokes at the expense of the trailer.
Okay, I didn't see that.
It felt like I think their take was like, where were these guys these last few years? Which is a bad nerd joke.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny.
So I think the nerds have already turned on the movie, which isn't a good sign in terms of box office.
Hey, you know where I stand on all this stuff. That I think the wave is about to come crashing down on like every superhero thing, regardless of quality.
It still feels like it feels like this weird moment where like they're actually trying something with a few of these movies.
Yeah. I mean that's what's gonna happen.
And that's a shame.
It's like Nightmare on Elm Street 5. People hated it. Then you get Freddy's Dead. People hated it. And then you get New Nightmare. No one cares anymore.
Yeah.
Although Nightmare 5 is also good. People are wrong about that. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. I totally didn't know. Did I mention he had I mentioned the Wild Wild West connection.
Yeah.
I did that. All right. All right, you should all go watch this movie if you haven't seen it, I guess.
Oh yeah. We're gonna spoil a little bit while we talk about it.
We're gonna probably spoil the whole fucking thing.
Okay.
But because that's what we do on this show.
Yeah, I mean, it's
good.
a very simple film.
Very simple movie. It's a good like late night one. It's one I think you can get like multiple people on board with. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like you got those friends over that aren't like movie fans, but they'll watch something.
Yeah, and I think Action Junkies, like if you haven't seen this, because I looked at the letterbox and a lot of my mutuals haven't even logged it, so yeah. I think people are gonna be in for like a real, like pleasant surprise when you do check it out.
It's a real hidden gem. Like good late night movie, like I said.
We start off with a very fast car. And you're like, Fast and Furious? And it's kind of...
Well, it's a car that's so fast, like, you barely notice it.
Yeah, I really like that opening. And it's like, the joke is that the cop ends up going like, oh, better tell the FCC? Who is it? FDA? Who the fuck?
I forget. I thought he just called it in.
He called it in. He's like, you better call the blah, 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 whatever. The air traffic control, I'll say. And he's like, you better tell them someone's flying low for jokes or something like that. And it's like, ha. Couldn't even register how fast the car was going.
And then it's like, then we just get the map of the movie. It basically just goes like, this is the fucking movie. There's a guy making a run for the border. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the last guy standing in his way. That's the fucking movie.
Yeah. And then it starts coloring in the movie a little bit as we go on. We get some of the townsfolks, we get real basic premise, real basic character outlines, and then the movie does a good job of like filling in those relationships. It's nothing like super complex, but it also doesn't have to be. It's
that one thing where it's like, oh, someone put some effort in somewhere.
Yeah. Not every movie needs to be like challenging our expectations or like I think now to sell a movie like this, you set up Schwarzenegger as the hero, and then you kill him off, and it's like, well, now what are they going to do? And you can do a good movie like that, but that's not what this is. This is just classic action filmmaking.
We also think of, like, I saw the Bob Odenkirk action film, Nobody.
How was it?
I liked it, but a big reason of why I liked it is that it's like a 90-minute film, and the basic premise is, like, what if John Wick was a family man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if this ultimate killer was that? And what if he looked like Bob Odenkirk? But the movie, like, anytime it introduces something, it has, like, a lot of personality to it. Like, it adds a little bit of flair where it's like, it didn't need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But doing that is what, like, makes it stand out, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what, like, the villain of the film, to give one thing as an example, like, he owns a nightclub, and every night he, like, performs. He, like, sings a song in front of the nightclub because he loves, like, being the center of attention. And he's also very bad at it. It's like, that's a weird villain choice. And there's just a lot of that here where it's like, there's just little character details. Some are very obvious, with, like, the one cop who's like, I just want to get to the big city, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a little more, but then you get stuff like, here's the thing, like, Johnny Knoxville is, like, the local kook, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know? He's, like, the goofy guy. He's the guy who has all the weapons, so when shit goes down, we know we're going to go to him, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that character exists in, like, dozens of action films. But the detail I think they give him that set him apart is that he has an excuse for why he has all the weapons.
Yes.
Which is that he's running a museum out of his shack that is, like, very clearly in front. And he's like, and I got the tax statements to prove it. Open every second Thursday of every month.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, clearly, like that is a detail you did not need.
Mm-hmm.
A lazier film would just be like, he's like, I just found it, Sheriff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, my cousin gave it to me. Or, like, my uncle was in Nam. Like lazier shit like that. And instead, like, they gave him, like, this weird character quirk where it's like, he's gone out of his way to collect these weapons under the guise that he's a museum curator.
Yeah, I mean, that like, launched this movie into, like, the stratosphere of entertainment. I will say, like, my biggest criticisms are really just in the front half, because I think the character stuff, like, that it's setting up and, like, the conflict setup, it's all solid. I also think this is where the director gets to stretch his muscles the least, like, cinematically. So it's not even, like, bad. It's just, like, knowing where it's all going and how it starts paying off, and, like, his little visual flourishes that are really fun. It's just the least interesting part of the film.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is fine, you know?
But there is a lot of good, like, I think there's some good character stuff, especially with Arnold, who shows up.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets, like, a good introduction as, like, he's the sheriff, he's, like, a stickler. He tells that one guy, he's like, hey, you gotta move your car. But it's like, isn't it your day off? Everyone's laughing at him. And then he, like, goes get some food, notices strangers at the diner, and he's like, something's up, because that guy's Peter Stormare.
Yeah, that's literally it. They weren't doing anything strange. You know, because, like, sometimes in action movies, it's like, there's, like, some rowdy henchman, they're like, hey, call this waitress over, start calling her honey and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Might try to, like sexually assault her or something, and if you want to, like, push exploitation
like,
boundaries.
if this wants to be, like, history of violence or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and this one is just like...
You know what, though? I just got an image. If Arnold was the lead in A History of Violence, and then people are like, I never saw it coming from him. And it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. A movie where everyone's like, can you believe it? He took down those guys.
Although, to be fair, that is also part of the charm and joke of something like Total Recall. Where it's like, he's just a lowly construction worker, and he's built, like, the fucking Great Wall.
He's a construction worker. Like, and then it's like he's a diner owner. But, yeah.
I was born in this country.
Yeah. My name's not Jimmy.
Woo!
This is my brother, William Hurt. Oh, that would have been incredible. Like, would totally sabotage that movie.
Oh, yeah,
but it'd also be kind of fun to see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but, like, he just immediately picked... And Peter Stormare, he is doing an accent. I don't know what accent, though.
No, you know what? Peter Stormare is one of my favorite... I was talking
about I am not even
he's...
saying it's a bad choice.
No, yeah, but he's one of my favorite, like, character actors, I guess we'll just say. Because he'll always play someone as gross as possible, whether or not the role calls for it. Like, he's in, like, I think a couple episodes of Arrow as Count Vertigo, then you Count Vertigo.
Oh,
and
hey, that's a good choice.
Yeah, no, he fucking kills it.
Oh my
It's like,
God.
that's perfect, right? Like, why isn't he in, like, every DC project ever now?
Yeah.
But he's so good, and he can do whatever. I would love to see him cast in like a heroic role, because no one would expect that, first of all.
Yeah.
But he plays a fantastic henchman. Like, he plays a B-list villain in Bad Boys 2, and he's killed off before the final and fourth act of that film. And that's the only like criticism I have of that film.
He was in 22 Jump Street.
He was. Tons of fun in that.
I think I first saw him in Armageddon.
Oh yeah. That's the first crossover he has with Bay.
Where he's a Russian, even though he's very clearly Swedish.
Yeah, but his accents, listen to him like in more recent stuff. He just talks like that now. I think that's just him.
It's just him. Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. He was Satan in Constantine. I forgot that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's had a hell of a career, and he has like a cameo in John Wick too.
Yeah.
Which honestly is like a good choice, I think.
No, he's perfect for that franchise. I don't know why he isn't in all of them, quite frankly.
Yeah. I feel like he's a good guy that like comes back in like 4, you know?
That would be great.
Like, or something like that. Yeah, he's a real interesting character. He plays just the weirdest roles in the weirdest way possible.
Mm-hmm. But you'll never forget him. He's kind of the ultimate that guy.
I would guess. But I think at this time, for my generation who aren't like movie fans, they would probably know. Remember when he did those like Volkswagen commercials?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember those? Those like everyone like my age knew him from that. And I'm like, you mean the guy from Fargo?
Oh yeah.
And it's like people didn't like. It was weird. I think that's who he was for the longest time, for millennials.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so odd to think, and that hasn't been a thing in forever.
No.
I don't even remember it being that long of a campaign, but it like stuck in people's minds for whatever reason. Yeah, Arnold's immediately suspicious of Peter Stormare.
Yeah.
And he goes to his deputies who are fucking around with Johnny Knoxville. There's gun shenanigans, which also feels like an American thing.
Yeah, like this is what they do on their day off. Like,
yeah, on our days off, we just go fire guns.
Yeah. Well, Luis Guzman's like, we're just trying to have some fun. There's nothing really going on in town because everyone left to the game. Mm-hmm. It's like 5 hours away, they say, or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's the other big... That was a good choice to be like, yeah, there's a game 5 hours away this weekend. So it's going to be, like, less people in this small town.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a good way to clear things out a little bit.
Yeah, and, like, that... Like, just in the film production side of that probably made it cheaper, too. You don't need to keep buying extras. Like, the finale's chaotic enough without any of that, so that's fine.
But it also allows the townspeople that are there to all have, like, a little bit going on for them.
Mm-hmm.
So you care about what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get back to that, because I love some of that stuff.
Yeah, the greatest line of the movie's later. Yeah, so he's like, hey, just run these plates, see what's up. But Arnold, because he's a fucking good small-town sheriff... He knows immediately. He's got those good instincts. And we get some backstory with him where, like, he used to be an LA cop, right? And then he's like, I just want to be a small-town sheriff. But I'm going to protect my small town.
In some ways, this is a sequel to Sabotage.
We can't talk about Sabotage yet.
No, but that's what I just wanted to toss out there.
We absolutely can't. But I will say, he does have a great line where he's like, what is 2/3 of my police force doing here? Yeah. Which is like the sign of like, oh, this is a goofy small town. Mm-hmm. I will say, there is a bit of a, like, I can't really fault the film for this because they do a good job. But I've seen this a lot where, like, there's movies like this where it's like a skeleton crew has to go up against an impossible enemy. Mm-hmm. The one woman that's on the team is always kind of like the straight man, Yeah. Like, that's a little disappointing. I would like why can't a woman play the Johnny Knoxville role?
Quite frankly,
women aren't into guns?
Yeah. That's why this isn't. I was gonna say 22 Jump Street, but it's the Neighbors movies, Neighbors and Neighbors 2. Mm-hmm. Rose Byrne gets to do everything Seth Rogen does, and she is just killing it. Yeah, like she gets to be as big of an idiot as everyone else in that movie. And it totally works. Like, I don't know.
Women
I think
aren't
people
allowed to be dumb in movies enough.
Yeah, I think when people like stuff like the bike they'll test, Like, I think that's like a good barometer to start when you're like learning about this stuff. But you also got to understand that, like, no, maybe some people do just want to talk about the guys they're dating. Like, that's okay.
Also, it's like when women are allowed to kind of play like flawed or like goofy people, it's usually like as an indictment of them, you know?
Yeah, it becomes like a flaw they have to overcome.
Yeah, it's a flaw, or they're an obstacle for a male protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But I will say, Jamie Alexander is I like her in this.
I like her too, yeah.
I think she's most well known for being Lady Sif in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Is she gonna be in the new Thor?
Yeah, she's in Thor: Love and Thunder after skipping out on Thor: Ragnarok because she had commitments to her NBC show at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is maybe a good thing because they killed off all the other warriors in that movie.
Yeah, I guess.
Which is odd, but
it does set up Love and Thunder to be like, because it's like bringing like all the romantic interests into it, kind of.
I guess he was kind of a romantic interest, huh?
Yeah, she liked him, but he never like kind of picked up on it because he's a dope.
Yeah,
which is a good character choice, honestly. But
yeah. Especially now that they gone full throttle on Thor being like, oh, he's like, oh, so wise about the universe, but when it comes to people,
yeah,
you know,
that's a good choice.
I love Thor. I that's the one franchise from them that I do want to see continue like forever.
Yeah, now let's just have him drink booze and be fat for a movie.
No. He's gonna have an '80s workout montage, so he's gonna lose it all.
Did they say that?
No, but there's a picture of him in an '80s workout like fit, and I'm just like, oh, okay, that's it.
Whatever. I mean,
he should have just been. They should have just kept him fat for at least another movie.
I don't care.
No,
I don't care.
No. Well, that's what I want.
Thor is not in this film.
Thor is not in this movie, no. But I think Chris Hemsworth and Arnold Schwarzenegger would make a great duo in an action comedy.
Maybe, yeah. There's that weird thing of like we still. Holy shit! This was the same year as Thor: The Dark World.
She gets much more to do here.
Well, guess what? Thor: The Dark World made $600 million.
Fuck.
This movie made $48 million.
Oh.
Yeah, this is like clearly the end of an era.
Mm-hmm.
Like, good lord. You already talked about Harry Dean Stanton and his standoff with.
We did a little bit, but I just want to say that
I
forgot he was in it, and he's great.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
And that feels like a choice to get Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, it's the straight story guy.
Yeah, the last decade of Harry Dean Stanton, but basically all his roles were people being like, I want Harry Dean Stanton.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Also in the Avengers, fuck, everyone is in those movies now.
Yeah.
Good.
You know what though? He's what you kind of want, like for a character actor to do.
Yeah.
Like he's not like when they fucking wasted Brad Dourif on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, that did happen, huh?
Yeah. That was actually the thing that like got me stop watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He just dies immediately here, basically.
Yeah, but it's like I just said, this wasn't a mean-spirited movie, but like
it's violent.
It's very violent, and his death is just like it's abrupt, and that makes it even more violent feeling. Yeah. And like sad, like it's a genuine like sadness when characters die in this movie.
I think it's another thing that makes it a throwback because this is like, when does Taken come out?
3 years or 5 years before this, I think.
Because Liam Neeson was one of the people considered for the lead before Arnold came on board.
I like Liam Neeson as an actor. I'm glad it was Arnold.
Yeah, no, I agree. But like Taken is like the beginning of kind of like bloodless violence.
Yeah.
In movies, you know, like movies with like massive body counts. And I think that's another like kind of a movie that damaged a few years of filmmaking.
Mm-hmm. Also, Nonstop was only like 4 years after Taken. That's way better than every Taken movie. So
yeah,
everyone fuck off. Sorry, I have very strong feelings about Liam Neeson action pictures.
Yeah, he had a good run, honestly, of like non-Taken action movies.
Yeah, remember The Gray? How fucking good is The Gray?
Which is like already kind of disappeared from people's minds.
Yeah, come on, wake the fuck up, America. These so-called free thinkers. I'm sorry, but yeah. And this movie, it doesn't really have that high of a body count. Like, we'll get into it more, but like, when
but it's all violent.
yeah, it's very
Like,
violent. It's very, very violent. But like when the showdowns happen, like the shootouts and the physical action starts, it's like people struggle to kill one another,
yeah.
which keeps it like entertaining, but also very concerning about which characters may or may not make it out of the picture alive. And also just because they're a nice bunch of characters. I don't want any of them to die.
Yeah. Well, like I feel protective of Luis Guzman the moment he shows up on screen.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's like a 50-50 chance Luis Guzman gets it. Like, he's the one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, Johnny Knoxville's on the poster, he probably won't die. Arnold, you can't kill Arnold. So it's like, it comes down to Luis Guzman.
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you right now. When I saw the title The Last Stand, like, I knew the premise of the movie, but I was like, oh, like, are they going to do it?
Yeah, it does feel... like I said, if this was the 90s, that's how this movie would have gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they would have all died.
Yeah, yeah. Before we get into more stuff there, we have to talk about the villain of the film.
Yes.
I had to look it up. Gabriel Cortez. The villain is not the strong suit of this film.
The new Pablo Escobar.
Yes. A lot to unpack there, but whatever. American action filmmaking. Not my favorite part of the film. I think they needed to cast someone like Peter Stormare in this role.
Maybe. You know what would have been good? Like, Damian Bashir.
Oh, fuck yeah.
He's, like, great.
Yeah, I mean...
Why is that guy so good and, like, he keeps, like, getting put in, like, B movies?
I don't know, because America doesn't know what the fuck to do with people anymore.
Like, he fucking stole the Hateful Eight.
Yeah. Remember he makes it to the end of Alien Covenant?
Yeah, which was, like, the last thing either of us expected.
Yeah. He's, like, fun in Godzilla vs. Kong, but again, like, there's no characters in that movie.
Barely used. He's he should have, like, a real, like, good character actor run, but he doesn't seem to be getting it.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that on Hollywood, because, like, they just don't allow people to do stuff like that right now.
Yeah.
You know? Bigger.
It was character actor. They're, like, the fucking ground is poison because of these fucking tentpole movies, because you can't really do character actors anymore, because character actors, they show up for one scene and then they, like, usually die in, like, an action movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know? But now everything has to be, like, a franchise thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you kill off someone that's, like franchise potential, like, flushed down the drain.
Yeah. Well,
So.
it's that. The movie star, everyone says there's no movie stars, and that's basically true, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't do that unless you become the Falcon or Thor or Iron Man. And so all this stuff, like everything in The Last Stand, I think that's why we both like it so much too. It's kind of all those last little bits of, like, just solid action filmmaking in one movie.
Yeah.
Except for the villain. I do think the villain is actually kind of weak. How the villain is used in the movie is cool and neat.
His gimmick is really interesting.
It's a Fast and Furious villain, basically.
Yeah.
It's straight up. 2013 was also the release of Fast 6, which literally has another villainous character using their car to flip over other cars. And that's the gimmick of that villain's team. It's kind of like the Fast and Furious versus the Avengers. That's the plot of that movie. Or not Avengers, excuse me. Versus the Masters of Evil. That's the sixth one. And this villain's the same one as that one.
So you mean versus the Avengers?
Sure, yeah. Robert Downey Jr. would be a good... No, I'm not going to get into that, never mind. But, like, yeah, the villain actor, maybe they're good in other stuff, but I did not get into them at all in this movie.
We no longer live in a Hollywood that would make Johnny Knoxville a star.
No.
Like, Johnny Knoxville would just be Jackass.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Like, there was that weird... Remember, there was just, like, that weird era where, like, he kept being in movies.
Yeah.
Where he's, like, an actor in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And his thing was just getting hit in the dick a lot. Just, like actually for real hurting himself in movies. And it's like, all right, you'll be in Men in Black too. And now it's like that. They just don't do that anymore. And I think it says something that he's already back doing Jackass 4.
I love that group of guys, like as a group of actors, whatever, right? Performers. I'm very concerned about that movie. I want it to be good for them, but
that feels like the one where it's like we're all gonna, if it comes out and we all watch it, we're all gonna be like, it's not gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, oh, these people are actually getting hurt.
Yeah, I mean, haven't two of them died? Like, not to get too heavy.
Well, no, the one guy died in the car accident.
Yeah.
And then, like Bam Margera, who I run into on the street all the time.
Really?
He lives in my county.
Wow.
And like you just see him all the time. He got like kicked off the movie because like he wasn't sobering up. Like he kind of had like substance abuse problems, and he's like seems like he's in like a very bad dark place as a person.
That's too bad.
And so like it's put like a weird shadow over everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Rip Taylor died, who is the guy who like shows up at the end of like all the Jackass movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's always throwing confetti because that was his thing. Which that was a thing you used to be able to do. you could just have a gimmick of you just throwing confetti around, and you could have a career out of that. Yeah, Jackass 3 though is the one that's like fascinating because that's when everyone's sobered up. You know, that's when everyone's like Steve-O is sober, not drinking all the time. And so they all look like genuinely scared the whole movie.
Yeah, that's a great trilogy. I'll say that. Like, yeah. For what those movies are like trying to do, like real life documentaries about a group of crazy people who love each other. You know, like, yeah. All right, cool.
And wasn't it like Jackass 4? They got injured like 2 days in the filming.
Yeah, wasn't there just a Johnny Knoxville interview? God bless him. I'm a huge Johnny Knoxville fan. But isn't he, like, on a catheter now?
Is he still? I know he broke his urethra, like, in an accident. I don't know if it was, like, it left a permanent thing.
Johnny Knoxville's Last Rodeo. That was the really good GQ story on him. I'd recommend checking it out. I'll put it in the link down below. But it's a very in-depth interview with him, and it's very candid and honest, and it's
yeah. It says here he had to keep putting one in to like flush it because it was all injured. So, but I don't know. It doesn't really specify if it was like a permanent thing. But yeah, and that was like not even on a Jackass film that he got injured. Like it was something else.
Oh.
And then he did that movie that no one saw. Do you remember that where he did like the Action Park movie?
Action Park, yeah. What was that?
It was called like Action Point or something. It was like because Action Park is like a famous amusement park where like people got injured all the time.
That's right. That's right.
So like it was like, well, Johnny Knoxville runs an amusement park, and like allegedly, like he said, he got injured more on that movie than any Jackass film.
Oh.
Because he did like all his own stunts, and then no one saw the fucking movie.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, it's just weird. Well, he's fucking like 50 years old. He shouldn't be doing that shit.
No, yeah, I agree. Like, but it's still like, what a shame.
I hope someone grabs him and goes like, Johnny Knoxville, you do not have to do this.
After the bubble burst this decade and movies are allowed to get interesting again, like on a mainstream level, I would like to see someone cast him just as a character actor, like in this. Because there's only like one moment in the movie where it's like, oh, that's the Johnny Knoxville moment.
Yeah.
It's very obvious. It's good, but it's very obvious.
There is a part of me, I wonder how much the director had input on him, because he is like a very, like, only in America type character, Johnny Knoxville. Like, only 90s America. Where we're on top of the world, we fucking won the Cold War, no one can beat us, and nothing bad will ever happen again. Let's just fucking crash into brick walls on motorcycles.
And it'll be one of the biggest shows in the history of television.
Yeah, it's like, let's just do horrible things to our bodies. And it's like, yep, that's pre 9/11 America. That's all. You can't do Jackass after 9/11.
No.
You can't.
And in fact, many people on YouTube did try.
Yeah.
They did not succeed.
Yeah, they just
rest in peace, themselves. Everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it says something that, like, now, like, The Big Show, my dad fucking loved Jackass, because my dad likes watching people get hurt. And The Big Show on TV is that he loves his ridiculousness, which is a show where a guy just basically finds videos on the internet of people hurting themselves.
Oh, my God.
And it's basically the Jackass thing, but it's just like random people. And they just have a disclaimer and be like, you can't send us tapes. That's it. That gets all the liability off.
Oh my god.
But like I said, like Johnny Knoxville's the quintessential American character.
Yeah.
Much like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who isn't even a fucking American.
No, yeah, it's so weird that the poster pairs them and they work together in the movie in the beginning and at the end.
Yeah. There's a terrific shot of him firing the machine gun and Knoxville feeding the machine gun.
Yeah, which was in the trailers.
I do think they were trying to make it seem like this was going to be a Schwarzenegger-Knoxville buddy movie.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. I would have liked to have seen an alternate universe where that did happen at one point. That sounds super fun.
I don't know. I think he's used the correct way here. I think it works. Because, like, they tried the buddy cop thing with Knoxville a few times, and it never really worked.
You didn't like Rennie Harlan's Skip Trace?
I wasn't even thinking of that.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking of, like, the fucking Dukes of Hazzard movie.
Oh, I forgot they did that.
Which he did. Dukes of Hazzard, a movie you could still make in 2005. Although I do not think the General Lee in that movie had the Confederate flag on the front.
Can't imagine why.
I think that was, like, the one thing they didn't do. But I could be wrong. I saw that movie fucking once.
But the villain, who is not Johnny Knoxville,
yes.
Gabriel Cortez, he escaped from FBI custody, including
Forrest Whitaker, mm-hmm. who is fucking, like, playing Saul Guerrero in this. Like, is fucking acting up a storm.
Now, I need to double check this, but I believe Forrest Whitaker was also in the same year in Taken 3, a movie I saw in theaters opening night, and then made a vow to never watch a cheap action movie on opening night ever again, because that is one of the worst films ever made.
I saw that movie and totally forgot he was in it.
Yeah.
I don't remember a fucking thing from Taken 3.
Well,
I think his wife dies in that one.
Yeah, because she's asleep through the entirety of Taken 2, which is kind of incredible. That's not a joke. She's knocked out, and she's asleep for, like, at least half the movie. Oh,
yeah.
And then she wakes up at the end, she's like, what happened? And it's like, well, a movie happened, ma'am.
That was what's-her-name, right? How dare those fucking movies?
Yeah, I know. Fuck those movies. Taken 3 came out 2014, excuse me. So a year after The Last Stand. And Forrest Whitaker basically plays the same person. That one's not a joke. I think
Whitaker plays this type of person a lot.
Yeah.
And, I mean, honestly, when I see it, it kind of gets me excited for the movie. I like Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker is like a living legend, and I feel like we kind of forgot about that.
But he's both a living legend and also a guy who will, like, totally go, like, ham. Mm-hmm. But, like, make the ham compelling.
Yeah, I mean, he's fucking perfect in, like, something like Phone Booth, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with Phone Booth.
I've seen Phone Booth, yeah.
Okay, yeah. But when he's like, Stuart, your lawyer's going down, and it's like the most epic fucking thing.
That's probably the first Forrest Whitaker film I saw. I saw that movie way young.
I think it might be mine too, actually.
Yeah. He's like in Panic Room.
Oh yeah.
Which he's like terrific in. He's Ghost Dog.
Oh, Ghost Dog is amazing. I feel like people might be misinterpreting that from when I say a movie called Ghost Dog is amazing, but no, it's like a genuinely like great film.
Yeah. It's a good movie. Go watch it.
Yeah. One of the last films shot by my fucking boy Robbie Mueller. Anyways, yeah, Forrest Whitaker's the shit. Did he just
retire? Because he only died like a few years ago.
He did retire, but I think he had like health issues. That's why.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You know. It's whatever. That's sad.
Yeah. There's a pretty solid documentary available on Amazon about him.
Okay.
Worth checking out.
Watch that.
Yeah.
Watch that.
Yeah, it's really cool. He'll film a toilet flushing with the same posterity as like a sunset.
That's what you want from a guy.
Yeah, he was great. Yeah, Forrest Whitaker, almost kind of an antagonist.
Like, it's so weird when you watch Forrest Whitaker's career, where it's like he sweeps every award with The Last King of Scotland, right? Mm-hmm. And then, like, he's already almost immediately back into films like this.
Yeah, I don't understand. I just don't understand. He's in Black Panther. He's very good in that.
He's good. He's like Ryan Coogler's like guy, right?
No, I that's probably Michael B. Jordan.
No, I thought the story was that he didn't he produce like Fruitvale Station?
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Yes, he did. Yeah,
He did. Like he handpicked Ryan Coogler out of film school.
Oh fuck. Okay.
So that was like him, kind of like like being like, hey, be in the movie.
And then he kills him.
Oh my god, this is the same year as The Butler.
No, The Butler. No one remembers The Butler.
Robin Williams was Eisenhower in it.
Whoa, really?
Yes. That is some of the weirdest casting of any movie ever. There's Robin Williams as Eisenhower, James Marsden as JFK, which, like, okay, you can kind of see that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Liev Schreiber as LBJ.
Whoa.
And then John Cusack as Richard Nixon.
That's weird.
Oh, and fucking Alan Rickman as Reagan.
What?
Yeah. I forgot that one.
Is that Alan Rickman's last role?
No, thankfully. No.
Okay, I was like, oh, fuck.
Alan Rickman hung in there for like 3 more years.
Okay, thank God.
And I think his last film was unfortunately like one of the Alice in Wonderland movies or something. But, no. Yeah, his last movie is Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass.
Oh.
But it's only his voice, so that gives it some shit.
Yeah, there you
He directed
go.
the movie like 2 years before he died. I should watch that.
Yeah.
Oh, Rickman.
But yeah, the villain, I just want to say again, not
Keep
a
coming
high
back
mark
to
for
this.
me in the film. I didn't like him. Every time he like kept talking, I was like, I feel like I should be more
He's
entertained.
not super compelling, but the car is. I think the villain is the car, really. Like, what is it, like the ZR1, the modified ZR1? I don't know cars.
A modified Chevrolet Corvette CX
Yeah.
ZR1, which was just stolen.
From an auto show, is what they say. Like,
Yeah.
like, that's why he's got like the super advanced. It's basically the Batmobile. I think Forrest Whitaker says it's a psychopath in a Batmobile, like, which.
Yeah, and like when he says that, it's like, okay, there's your conflict.
And
Boom,
he
how are they
literally
gonna stop
does
it?
the
Let's
like
go.
the bat tumbler trick of like turning the lights off and slowing down. Like he does.
Yeah. I also love Batman Begins.
Hey, whatever. It works.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. It's fun.
And then like what you're finding out is he does. I do like his escape scene where it's like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like a magnet to go to a rooftop.
Yeah.
Where it's like, how did they not like know? Hey, maybe don't drive by construction equipment, which is like the telltale sign of like these guys are up to something.
Yeah.
And then, but the real fun trick was that he had multiple guys running around that looked kind of like convicts.
Yeah. That was funny. That was fun.
When
I was
Forrest
into
Whitaker's
that.
like interrogating him, they're like, "We're just Dutch football fans." It's like a cute little moment.
Yeah. I think that goes on a little long, but it's a fun like escape setup.
Yeah.
Then he takes an FBI agent hostage.
I like the shot. I really like the shot that like when Forrest Whitaker's all like, "We fucked up," and he's back at the police station. That there's just a room full of those guys.
Yeah,
That's funny.
It's also like something that just isn't reality, which I really liked. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Like, it's a very movie thing.
This isn't trying to be like this is something that could actually happen. Which is
Yeah, has no interest in that,
Yeah.
and that's kind
which
of why I
more
loved
movies
it.
should have a fucking interest in that.
Yeah, I think honestly that probably stems from the director too, because
Yeah.
the reality and like making things realistic is a very like American sensibility.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that like always gets lost, especially from South Korean cinema, where it's like there's a very unreality to, even though their films are known for like their violence and their grit. It's like there's a very like unreality to all of it. And the one thing that's really lost that like I don't think anyone that's done any of the South Korean directors that has done an American film has ever gotten is like the dark humor is something that never really translates. Or at least they never really attempt in the American films,
That's weird. I considered Stoker a crowd pleaser, so I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what? I have not seen Stoker in a long time, but I liked it.
No, I was kidding.
Know, but like but here's the thing, like Park Chan-wook did Stoker, like Old Boy is like a black comedy. Like it's full of humor. But no American film would dare attempt any of that humor.
Neither did the American version of Old Boy.
Yeah, it's like there's fucking Looney Tunes gags in that movie. Or like I think just won the Oscar last year. Fucking Parasite has like a slapstick comedy scene that is also a scene where a woman falls and like cracks her skull open and dies. Mm-hmm. But it's like it's played as a comedy moment, but then like her hitting the ground isn't.
I mean that's also kind of stems from like the reality versus fantasy elements of filmmaking in America versus everywhere else too. Yeah. Like, I mean, South Korean cinema and director Bong Joon-ho specifically too is like so known for his ability to juggle tones, and that's just because that's normal everywhere else.
Yeah, it's normal in every other country except fucking America.
Yeah, here it's like, well, is it a comedy or a drama?
Yeah,
and it's like, well, it can be both. I don't care. Just you could do everything.
I think the only way you can do that in America is if you. I think it's Paul Verhoeven. I think you have to let the producers in on it when it's way too late. Like you go like, it's an action film, it's a science fiction film, and then it's like, no, it's a satire. Like you don't.
Well, it's that, or now you have to like really bake it into the premise. Like, did you ever see Maniac on Netflix?
You know what? I don't think I did.
Okay, that's the Cary Fukunaga show he did before doing No Time to Die. It's with Emma Stone.
Oh yeah, you know what? I saw that, and then I like it was like big for a week, and I started doing a thing with streaming stuff where I'm like, if this is relevant 6 months from now, I will watch it, and then it wasn't.
And then it wasn't, no. But it's good. It's good, and it's kind of like someone saw that and then decided to pitch it as a Marvel show called WandaVision.
Oh, all right.
But only did it less interesting there. But the point I want to make is that with both of those miniseries, in their premise is baked in the concept that, oh, we're going to do a bunch of different genres and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's your excuse to do different tonal exercises. For like quality aside, execution aside, that is what those things set out to do. Mm-hmm. And that's very like constrictive creatively, that you have to have that like in your log line, Yeah. That's not how you make stuff.
I don't get how film producers have never put together that you can lie to the audience in the trailer. Like you can be like, this is what the movie is, even when it's not,
Yeah.
Whatever gets people in seats, as long as you don't lie to them too much,
Or like, Knives Out is a murder mystery, and then it's resolved in 15 minutes, but it starts tossing other stuff at you that are escalations from that.
Yeah. Yeah, murder mystery that just tells you what happened.
Yeah, kind of. And The Last Stand is not a murder mystery, though.
No.
It is.
Although it is for a little bit. We're trying to figure out who killed Harry Dean Stanton.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Arnold, like, suddenly is like, these tracks do not lead. Like, he starts putting shit together.
Like, yeah, he gets a fun little, like, investigation moment. And, earlier on, we get a nice little moment with him and one of his deputies, where his deputy wants to move to L.A., and he's like, could you put in a good word for me? Because you went to L.A., right? And it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of sweet. You're starting to get to know, like, the supporting cast members.
It almost feels like a moment of Arnold talking about his career a little bit. It's like, I dreamed of my biggest dream was getting to L.A. and then becoming the governor of California.
And then I had a secret family, and it all went haywire.
Yeah, and then your shit happens. I forgot that it happened.
Yeah. Whoops.
Hey, whatever.
Yeah, hey, look. Hollywood's full of fucked up, sick people.
Wasn't he married to a Kennedy?
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Celebrity culture stops getting interesting when you realize how incestuous it is.
Yes. Well, it's like our royalty is celebrity.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I would have said, like, corporate America.
No, because no one gives a shit about.
But
corporate
we don't fawn
America.
over them. Is the thing.
Yeah, but corporate America is like the puppet masters.
Oh, okay.
There's a little bit of that because like Elon Musk is definitely pushing it to that territory, where now like we're gonna know the CEOs of like every corporation.
Yeah, like look, I'm hip, guys.
They're all gonna be psychopaths. No, they put together that they find out that Peter Stormare and the gang are like building a bridge. They're gonna build a bridge to cross the ravine, right?
Yeah, and they're like, "What the fuck?" Like they see that, but they don't know like what it's for.
Yeah.
And I like that the movie literally just has like 3 locations.
I know, that's another good thing. Where it's like it's this weird thing where like this movie it's cheap but doesn't really feel it, you know?
Yeah, no, and it has that mid 2000s American like action cinema look.
Yeah,
you know? Like it almost looks like a Tony Scott film, just less like hyperkinetic. In a way, like look at like the colors of like the skin in the sky.
The director did bring one of his cinematographers with him. It's one of his people.
Kim Ji Young.
Yeah, I think they did like a Bittersweet Life and shit like that. So,
oh, okay. Oh, well, good for them.
Yeah. It's just weird. It's a shame because none of those people did another American thing ever again.
No, yeah. Yeah, remember like the 90s, like when John Woo came over, that was like a huge deal. Ang Lee doing like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, a film that is all in Chinese. Mm-hmm. I don't remember which dialect specifically, I apologize. But like, that's a huge deal, and that just doesn't happen. It was a hit.
Yeah.
That's what's also crazy about that. And I don't know, feels like less opportunities are going around.
We let John Woo down a little bit, I think.
I think so too. Did you see Manhunt on Netflix?
No.
It's not great, but if you like John Woo, you might get something out of it.
I'm slowly working my way through all his movies, so we'll see. The ones I can get my hands on, because it's hard to fucking get your hands on some John Woo films.
Yeah, you kind of got to go out of your way to like get a copy of Hard Boiled.
Yeah,
you know?
Or you have to have a friend who has a way to see it.
Yeah. Ways. Yeah, they discover the mystery bridge, and Deputy Jerry Bailey and Sarah Torrance, who's Jamie Alexander, they get into a shootout with like heavily armed mercenaries. It looks like, and it's like a simple action scene, but I kind of like how they play it, like with the lights and the shadows, and then. Yeah, it's like there's a very natural like escalation in every action scene where it's like, all right, this happens, all right, well then this has to happen. They're turning down the lights. Okay, the bad guys are going to turn on their night goggles, which our guys don't have, and now they have to like struggle with that aspect. And Schwarzenegger gets a big heroic moment as he runs over one of the guys, which is lots of fun. Just like that's all he can do at this point. Luis Guzman gives him cover, but the deputy that wanted to move to L.A. ends up dying in the arms of Jamie Alexander. And that was actually like kind of sad because it's like, I don't know, you didn't expect that character to die.
Well, no one dies in fucking movies anymore, so yeah, it was surprising. So something.
Also, what really struck me was like the blood and like the gunshots are very loud. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, like when they like hit people,
guns are fucking scary.
Yeah, you know, like we love our action movies, but. You're not coming back from that. So, and it's nice when even an action movie seems to understand that.
Yeah.
And there's just so much blood. like when he's bleeding out, it's like it looks
fucking
like
bleeds out. Like he's not like, oh, my chest is a little whatever. It's like he fucking bleeds the fuck out. And it's like that scary bleed out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like Reservoir Dogs a little bit, where like he just gets paler.
Yeah, good makeup sign. Yeah,
but it's like you know, like I've seen movies where like people get shot and it's like they're bleeding out and like they get pale like really quick. Like that's scary, and they do a pretty good job here, and that's what makes shit personal. Yeah. Also, Arnold is like the last minute, like before all this, like it's all connected. He puts it all together because he just got word about the escaped convict, so he's like he's coming here. But the border believes that he's going to go for the heavily secured border location, so they got no backup. It's just them.
Well, they might have some SWAT team just to help comb the area, and then they get wiped out by the villain's
yeah.
Batmobile.
And the roadblock got wiped out. There's a few of those scenes.
Yeah, and effective,
Yeah.
quick, simple little action scenes. Like, I don't know. I'm just really impressed by this director. And
You should check out more
have
of
you
his...
seen their other stuff?
I've seen I Saw the Devil and The Good, the Bad, the Weird.
Okay, so you've seen the same ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, The Good, the Bad, and the Weird got a lot of play because I think that was like one of the first movies on Netflix.
Yeah, it was on. It was an early Netflix one.
Yeah. And it is weird.
It is. It is good, bad, and weird. Although the thing about that fucking title is it's The Good, the Bad, the Weird. It is not The Good, the Bad, and the Weird.
Maybe there's like a legal issue there.
I don't know. But and it's basically like a South Korean Western. Like, and then I don't know what the fuck you call I Saw the Devil, but that's a movie that just like throws in like a cannibal guy.
Yeah, why not? Maybe this movie could have used a cannibal guy.
This movie's got enough.
Like a henchman.
It's got Peter Stormare.
Oh yeah, that's close enough.
So then it's like it becomes a thing where it's like we got to fortify the town, and that's what The Last Stand is.
The whole middle chunk of the film is them realizing the conflict and then preparing for the conflict. Yes. And this is where the movie really starts
getting like
taking off
moments.
for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first big moment is Arnold's trying to get everyone out of the town, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone got to go for cover. The people at the diner are like, we just ordered breakfast.
Oh, I mean, that's the other thing we should mention. The movie takes place over the course of about 12 hours.
Yeah, it's a very short amount of time because like they do the clock
I don't
thing.
need everything to like be over the course of a couple days or whatever. Like, you know, like that's why I love Collateral so much. It's just like it's an all-in-one-night movie.
Yeah, I'm either
it's
all
nice.
in one night or over several weeks. Those are the only two gears I like. Because I hate movies that are over exactly like 3 days.
But yeah, I love the diner scene where they don't want to leave.
Yeah, that's the best line in the movie. He goes like, "This killer's coming. Gotta get out of here." And the one guy goes, "You're talking to a 70-year-old man with high cholesterol, eating a bacon and cheddar omelet with extra cheddar. Do I look like I'm afraid of death?" And then the other guy, the guy behind him, is like, "Don't look at me. I ordered the same thing." Like,
that was great. I almost thought they were gonna like play a part in the finale. They didn't need to. That's fine.
They do help the one girl, but that's about it.
Because like I thought like, it turns out like everyone in this town does have guns or something, and then it would have been kind of sad because you just know those dudes were not gonna make it out if they got involved.
It does start getting into that with like it does go to like Death Wish 3 territory a little bit though. But we'll get
there. I know exactly what you're talking
about. But
like
they plan everything. They raid Knoxville's place. Luis Guzman takes a sword.
Oh yeah. Oh, the sword never comes into
that's
play.
I feel like that was just an improv on set.
Yeah, which is fine.
That was in a lot of the trailers. I remember that.
Oh,
Luis Guzman holding that sword, going, "You never know."
Yeah. Oh, see, now someone's got to make a movie where Luis Guzman saves the day with a sword.
Hey, well, kind of, but like the thing that happens is there's a girl who was set up earlier. She's the one who leads them to Harry Dean Stanton. And she's like, "Hey, you know, he usually brings the milk in early. He never misses a day. I'm afraid he might have had a heart attack." And so, like, it sets up like she's like the milk girl at the fucking local diner, which is something that doesn't exist, but it's like a small town American thing. And she had gone out to get the milk, and she's coming back right when the showdown's happening. And fucking Luis Guzman gets, like, the hero moment.
Yeah.
He runs out there, he saves her, he's, like, shooting at gangsters and shit. And then, like, they fucking fire a bazooka at him. And you see the cowboy hat fall, and you're like, fuck, Guzman got it. Because, like, if anyone's gonna get it, it's gonna be Luis Guzman. But then he picks up the hat and fucking comes running out with a Tommy gun.
Yes. That right there is cinema.
Yeah, it's terrific. It's the hero shot. And that's, I think, something that Arnold was better at in, like, these later films, is that he allows other people to have hero moments. Which was, like, a big stickler, like, in older action movies. Mm-hmm. Like, it used to be, like...
And it's kind of come back right now for people like The Rock and Statham and Vin Diesel.
I think you mean people like The Rock.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is too bad because he's like a good actor, and he's like a good action star.
I know.
Just
of the action stars, he's like the best actor, unfortunately.
yeah, and like, God, that's why I wish like he had a career take off with Shane Black instead of like these hacks he's working with. Because like Shane Black will let you get fucked up, man. He'll make you get fucked up.
Well, it's so weird when then like he did that movie like High Rise, where like the gimmick wasn't the gimmick in that like he didn't have a leg or something.
Skyscraper. High Rise is the experimental adaptation of the book High Rise.
J.G. Ballard thing, whatever. But remember, he did Skyscraper, and he doesn't he like not have a leg in that?
Yeah, he's paraplegic, I believe.
But like it doesn't have anything to do with the story.
No, and it's,
like
yeah, there's like moments they try to play with it, but it doesn't have the same effect because that director's a hack. So. Mm-hmm.
He only works with hack directors.
Well, you know what? John Colette Sarah, who's doing Jungle Cruise, which I don't think looks very good.
I will not fucking believe that shit till I see it. Like, people have been hyping that movie to me.
I was, and then I saw the trailers, and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good,
yeah,
but I like that director.
Trailers. Fuck the trailers. Like, it doesn't matter. Because, like, Disney's going to do the same marketing with every film, right? Mm-hmm. We have to get off these fucking trailer trains. Like, even if you think, like, hating on them is, like, stopping it, it's not. It just feeds into it. Stop watching the trailers. Watch the fucking movies. Because I feel like, I mean, I don't want to come across like I'm defending this movie because I have not seen it. But fucking everyone already wrote their review of Cruella before it came out. You know? Everyone already wrote the review of that movie. Mm-hmm. Which, whatever. Fuck that movie. I don't even know. I have no interest in really seeing it. But it's like, it's just feeding the Disney machine still.
Yeah, the only way to, like, defeat it is to hop off it, frankly.
Yeah. What we have to do is we have to stop watching these fucking trailers and talking about them all the time.
You know what? I don't think I've tweeted a single thing about Cruella. And I'm proud of that.
I might have once. But, hey.
I might have tweeted, like, Joker Girl Boss or something, but that's not the same.
Well, everyone had that reaction initially.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone made that same joke over and over again for the past 2 years.
Yeah, but I did it first, so it's okay. I have legal proof of that.
I like the Jungle Cruise poster, I gotta say that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like an attempt at doing the Drew Struzan thing, and hey, if he's retired, why not, you know?
Yeah. I will, I'll catch a matinee, maybe. Is Josh Gad in it?
No.
Thank fucking Christ. He seemed to be the guy that was in every Disney thing for a little bit.
Oh yeah, Artemis Fowl.
Yeah.
What a picture.
That's a movie that fucking disappeared, like, immediately. Yeah. Even though it's on a streaming service forever. Mm-hmm. And I still get trailers for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
The Goose body, he goes down, though.
Yeah, and it looks like he's a goner, too, for a second, because he gets to, like, bad.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of people get, like, when they get shot, they're, like, down. Mm-hmm. Like, but Jamie Alexander gets the guys with the sniper rifle.
Yeah, for the Goose.
Gotta save them.
And there's a fun back and forth as they're like trying to like, because they're and you could really feel like the struggle in them trying to fight back against like, I think they're like a paramilitary group. Honestly,
this is a very like Home Alone climax.
It's very hard target.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I love it. Also because there's not like an endless supply of bad guys too.
Yeah, and we get like an X number.
Yeah. And you know, I'm cool with that with stuff like John Wick, whatever. I love the John Wick movies. There's not a slight against stuff like that. But you know, like you were talking about like the bloodless action movies. Here, this is like the antithesis of that. Where like every bullet counts.
Yeah. John Wick will at least have one scene where a guy like gets stabbed violently. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like here, anytime anyone gets shot, like the wall is splattered with blood. There's the guy that comes up the stairs in the one scene that just gets massacred.
Yeah, no, he gets it bad too. But like, even when they're taking him out, it's who the fuck is it? It's Jamie Alexander and Rodrigo Santoro characters that like they get a shot off at him, and then they have trouble pinning him down after that.
Yeah.
On the
forgot to bring
stairs.
up the boyfriend character, the ex-boyfriend who's in jail.
Oh, yeah.
Who's an Iraq war vet with PTSD. Like, this is his chance through violence to redeem himself.
Yes. But hey, look, for American action movies, you got a simple arc, you satisfy it, you're good to go. I get it.
Yeah.
You know? I gotta say, because I think I mentioned last time, I just started watching Schitt's Creek at the time of this recording, and there's like, in this movie, there's this one small, quaint little town that looks like it all takes place in one strip of road. I'm waiting for, like, Eugene Levy to come out.
They tried to do, like, Eugene Levy in, like, a buddy cop film once.
Really? What the fuck one was that?
I think he was with Sam Jackson.
I gotta Google this. I want to see it.
It's called, like, The Man. It might just be more of a comedy, but no one remembers this fucking movie.
I think you're right. Oh, he was in Like Mike. Remember Like Mike?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and Bringing Down the House with Queen Latifah and Steve Martin.
I remember that trailer. Steve Martin betrayed me. Because as a kid, Steve Martin was like one of the first comedy guys I was aware of as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're a kid, you're like, oh, it's Steve Martin from The Jerk. He must still be making movies of the quality of The Jerk.
Aww.
And then I go and see fucking shit like It's Cheaper by the Dozen. And it's just terrible.
I'm so sorry.
Hope you bought some nice art with that, Steve.
Anyways, it just reminded me of Schitt's Creek. That's all I wanted to say.
Remember the fucking Pink Panther? Inspector Clouseau? Remember that dog shit?
I saw that in theaters.
I remember everyone fucking quoting that goddamn movie at me.
The cheeseburger line.
The burger. Fuck you, America. What the fuck was wrong with everyone?
Probably a lot. I mean, that was after 9/11. So.
Yeah, but is it our hatred of fucking the fucking French? Because they wouldn't support us in the illegal Iraq War. Anyway, and then Johnny Knoxville and Arnold roll up, firing machine guns.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Knoxville seems to know exactly what he's doing. I gotta say, I guess Johnny Knoxville's not even his real name, right?
I don't believe so, but we can just keep calling him that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, he's a guy who, like, understands that he looks like a guy named Johnny Knoxville.
Well, you know what? He also does look like his actual name, which is Philip John Clapp.
He doesn't look like a Philip, man.
No, but when you add the John Clapp at the end...
John Clapp a little bit, but he's definitely more Johnny Knoxville.
No, can't you imagine him with, like, a cigarette and a pair of glasses and then, like, a nice fitted suit being like, hey, I'm Philip Johnny Clapp,
sounds
see?
like a guy who would be good at music, though.
I think he can play the guitar.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything.
I don't know. Here's
Been to a
Wonderwall.
fucking party in your life? There's always one douche with a fucking guitar.
No. It was
playing.
always high school for me. And then Wonderwall got played. That is not a joke.
Yeah. I know.
Chris, if
I
you're
had
listening
high
to
school
this, I
parties, too.
remember.
Those, I don't know. I guess they ended for you in high school. They hung in a lot longer for me.
No, I'm sorry.
We don't need to go into the whole action scene. It's just fun. It's just
It's just
good
tons
action.
of fun. But I do want to mention some highlighted moments. I like when Arnold chases down that one dude who ends up on the roof too. And
he jumps that guy off the roof, and then
he jumps him off the roof and shoots him in the face.
Yeah, and shoots him in the head as they fall.
Yeah, it's like the shot probably would have covered that, Arnold.
Yeah. And then he gets like a funny quip at the end of it, where it's like, "How you feeling, Sheriff? Old."
Yeah. That I remember from the trailers too.
Yeah, that was in a lot.
And that made it seem like there was going to be more action sprinkled into the middle section of it, and there's not. And even though we kind of skimmed over it, that's not a problem. Like, it's really fun watching all these actors like play off each other and stuff.
Yeah, the trailer made it look like he was going to be facing like multiple waves of guys throughout the whole movie.
And no, it's just like, I mean, there's
Instead
probably
of
the
the
same
last
amount
stand of the title.
I mean, there's probably like the same amount of bad guys here as there were in like the first Die Hard, honestly.
Yeah.
Probably like a dozen guys at most.
I would probably say so.
Yeah. And of course,
and
we
then we
also get one great
classic,
moment.
Yeah. Of an old lady shooting a guy in the back of the head. He's like, Miss Salazar, obliged. Which is like, holy shit, I didn't know Arnold could say obliged. And And then she has the great line, "Put the hurt on him, Ray."
That's my favorite line of the movie.
That's a total, like, Death Wish 3 moment. Like, where, like, the old people just start coming together to help murder gang members.
But hey, you know what? Apart from the inherently problematic elements of American action cinema, it's not... I don't feel, like, low-key guilty about this movie. Because, like, sometimes I'll find myself watching older problematic stuff, and, you know, maybe guilty's the wrong word, but I'm like, definitely can't make this anymore, and that's probably a good thing. And, you know, like, they're all cops.
Honestly, I gotta say something. Like, I agree with that statement, especially like cop films. Like, those are definitely aging like horribly right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly think that like awards pictures do more damage to the culture ultimately.
No.
I have seen movies that are like not action films that like you can tell that these movies led to something, like Crash.
Mm-hmm.
Or like JFK. Like JFK, a movie I love, but is like definitely kind of responsible for the weird conspiracy theory culture we live in.
Yeah, I mean, Green Book won because Trump was president.
Yeah.
Like, that's
entirely.
not a joke. That's like, it's definitely a response to that. Like, see, no. We like you guys. You know, like, that's what that win feels like.
There's no problem, ultimately.
Yeah. You know, if we all just learn to listen to each other. Because racism is definitely a two-way street.
Here's something. That movie was so offensive, no one bothered to talk about how offensive that was to Italians. That might be one of the most offensive Italian performances ever put to cinema. Like, Luigi Mario had less problems.
But all that to say, I find myself oddly even more comforted with this film's, like, fantasy version of the American small town.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, oh, okay, this is like a movie where the hero can ride off into the sunset after a hard day's work, you know.
But it's also like, you can tell this had like the thing that like clearly won it over with some studio executive somewhere, where it's like, what if the plot was a Mexican guy trying to get back into Mexico, you know? Like,
yeah. I
like,
mean, there's a line.
Oh, the tables have turned.
Yeah.
And it's like, But, I mean, it's funny, and it's like, it's got its charms, you know, like.
That is also kind of why I wish the villain was played by like someone else, like Peter Stormare.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
Because I think he would have had a better actor delivering that dialogue, you know.
Unfortunately, I just think this movie doesn't get funded unless it's like a Hispanic villain or something, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the issue, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's got but none of the other guys are.
Like, my problematic favorite video game franchise is the Far Cry series. Try dissecting those politics, and you're going to have a lot of problems.
Who's in the new one?
Giancarlo Esposito playing a not Cuban dictator.
No, but is he the new one, or like I thought they announced...
No. That's the upcoming one that's coming out later this year.
Okay.
And you know what? To those developers' credit, they were like, no. This is an inherently political story. Whether or not we succeeded in telling a story that was more than just an attempt at doing something political is on us, and I gotta respect that.
Well, it's better than those guys doing like a literal Iraq war game and being like it's apolitical.
Yeah. You know, the fact that they acknowledge like, hey, look, whatever pros or cons this is gonna have, it's definitely political. So the lowest possible bar, they finally cross it. So thank you.
The video game industry keeps finding ways to get deeper, though.
I know.
And it's dragging fucking all of us with it.
Yeah, it's bad.
I will say I do like the chase through the cornfield. I really like that.
It looks cool too.
Yeah, and it's a really like fun idea.
Yeah, and the sound design throughout this movie, like we're talking about like the violence and stuff, the sound design makes it hit a lot harder. And then when they're driving through the corn, it's like, like the corn cobs hitting the cars constantly, and it
feels intense.
Yeah. I have a little more mixed feelings about the final showdown, like the final last stand, only because it was very clearly shot on a green screen. Now, I'm sure that was for budgetary reasons. I can understand all that.
You can't really find a place to film something like that.
Yeah, like, if it was me, I'd be like, just fucking put the bridge, like, in the middle of a desert. I don't know, we'll go there. There are valleys near Los Angeles where you can do that, but you know what? Movies don't just work.
I think because
with
it's going
your
to be
ideas,
like I gotta say, like Arnold definitely showing his age a little bit in this one. There's a lot of like clear moments where he's using a body double. But like this final showdown kind of had to be him, so I guess you kind of needed a controlled environment.
Yeah. So I understand it. I still don't think it works that well, but the actual like fighting is
I do
kind
like.
of fun.
I like the like last bit of like Arnold being like the incorruptible American sheriff.
Yeah.
Of like the guy being like, just name a bank account, I'll wire you any money you want. And then Arnold's like, you give immigrants a bad name.
Yeah, which is quite the line.
And which is like it might be the first time Arnold has ever acknowledged that he wasn't an American in an American action film.
I'm not judging him on this, but it does make sense. It happens after he was governor.
Yeah, I think it was something he probably said as governor.
Mm.
Like when he was arguing about like whatever the border. Like,
well, if you guys would just come in the right way.
Yeah, people, I came in the right way by becoming Mr. Universe. But it's like, you know, remember like Republicans would like bang that drum being like, we should build a wall at Mexico, never believing it because they just knew it could get people angry at immigrants. And then they actually elected an idiot who wanted to build an actual wall along the border, which is impossible.
No, don't worry. Mexico still will pay for it at some point.
Yeah.
That is.
Well,
what
no, you
we
don't
are
understand. He's such a business genius, man, that Mexico's already paid for it through the tariffs, man. So, like, we are paying for it, but Mexico's already paying for it. Don't you get it, man?
America shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
That's what.
Don't worry, Diego. You only got to give it a few more years, and your dreams will come true.
More like the disconnected states of America.
Oh, no, the united, divided. Little place for me to retire on. What if he showed up suddenly at the end?
Oh, he's the actual villain that's being
like,
transported in the trunk of the car.
Yeah, they can fit him in because he's half a guy. So
that's
the bridge
awful.
is a secret mechanical spider.
Wow.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, you must bow to me and the Loveless Alliance, or I will decimate this here town.
Well, it would be a very different film.
It's amazing how this movie is very much like not a Western, but is more of a Western than Wild Wild West.
Yeah, but this movie also doesn't end with the heroes riding off into the sunset on a mechanical spider. So, who's the real loser here?
Hey.
I guess that pretty much covers it. I guess we kind of skipped over the FBI agent who was actually a mole who was fake taken hostage.
It gives it the movie a little bit more to it, like especially that dynamic, you know.
It explains why they don't just blow it up. Like I mean, that's what.
Yeah.
That's why this movie is so like tightly constructed. Every question you have about like why don't they just do this? It's like, well, here's why. You know.
It has enough twists in it to keep you engaged, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And not twists like a fucking Marvel movie where it just becomes a different movie every 10 minutes.
Yeah, and then you realize, oh, this was nothing. Like, no, this was something. I watched this on Amazon Prime for my rewatch. I will gladly buy the Blu-ray and watch it again.
Yeah.
This is the kind of movie that I'm glad to support.
We gotta mention the one last gag of the movie, though.
Mm-hmm.
Which is Arnold comes back and he'd used the car that was parked illegally at the start of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Chase the guy down, it's all fucked up. The guy gets back, he's like, what the hell happened? He's like, you shouldn't have parked there. And then that's the end of the movie.
I laughed. I did an actual guffaw at that line. I did not remember that line. But that's perfect. That is the exact kind of movie this is. Here's the payoff. I mean, here's the setup. And then here's the fantastic payoff at the end.
I will say the one thing about it is that like they kind of set up in a way where this guy's like, well, if there's a fire, move it. Like, you know, so like you think, okay, there's gonna be a fire, you know, like you think that's what it's setting up, right? Mm-hmm. But instead, no, Arnold steals the car and uses it for a chase through a cornfield. Like, it's a very obvious set off, but the payoff isn't exactly what you'd expect.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like, I love Edgar Wright to death, but like I feel like he's definitely influenced the like really underlining a setup,
Mm-hmm.
and then has to pay off in that exact way.
Yeah, and you don't have to do that. You could have a little more fun.
Edgar Wright is doing it. Let him do it.
Yeah.
Like, why would you want to just be a lesser Edgar Wright?
Yeah, just be yourself and have fun.
Because you're not going to be Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Only a guy like him could make Scott Pilgrim work.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, like any other director would have fucked that movie up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still really like that movie.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to talk about it on this series, but I really like that movie still.
Yeah, you know what? That would fit the series, though.
Mm-hmm.
It would totally fit.
Should we do that next time instead?
I don't know. We keep adding movies.
Yeah, I know. This is supposed to be like a sidebar.
But it's like a perfect one of those.
We have a couple more to go through at least for sure.
Yeah.
We'll have to think about that. But yeah, that one's pretty good. I'd say it's better than The Last Stand, but for action junkies, like if you haven't seen The Last Stand, you're in for a real treat. So
you're in for a
check
real
it out.
treat, and it's like barely 100 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I think the credits take up a lot of the running time too. So
yeah.
But you'll have a great time watching it, I would think.
Yeah, if you don't
Watch
like
late
it,
one night.
fuck off. No, it's I get it. Whatever. You probably just don't like action movies, and that's fine.
It's just a shame that like we just don't make this movie anymore.
This feels like something that would be on Netflix for a little bit, and then people forget about it.
Yeah. Why do all the Netflix movies, like, I feel like Netflix could be churning out movies like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they, like, everything Netflix is churning out is forgettable. What the fuck is going on there?
Remember how long ago we talked about how the YouTube pipeline kind of, like, bet its money on the wrong horses? I think the same thing's happening there in Hollywood, where they're like, this person worked on this big, successful franchise. Let's give them the keys to our kingdom, see what they give us. And it's like, oh, these people are actually hacks. Oh, shit. We don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, but even then, it feels like they should be churning out something, The
Russo brothers are literally directing a movie called The Gray Man right now. If that doesn't signify everything that's wrong in Hollywood.
You mean the guys who did You, Me, and Dupree? Talk about a failed franchise.
No, Matt, where can the people find you?
I'm at EmperorOTN1 at Twitter.com and Twitch.
And you can find me at the Diego Crespo on Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and Patreon, along with the Waffle Press. That's what I should have said first, because you cannot find Diego at that Patreon. You can find the Waffle Press there.
Waffle Press Patreon.
Yeah, where you help fund our little shows, SoundCloud, and let's see what else. SoundCloud is really the big one.
Give Diego some money so he can have a career.
Yeah, it would be great to just have a little extra cash coming in. That's always very helpful. Because the world will end in 5 years. If
Diego gets a career, I will bring up all the shit he cut out of the podcast because he didn't want people to hear it, and I'll hold it against him, and then he'll get me in.
Yeah, but I left your opening for Alien 3 in the episode, so...
Hey, what did I say? I don't even remember.
We were just doing like our normal shit talk, yeah, and you were like, let me get my Mel Gibson tirade out of the way. But yeah, go check.
What a different time.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's upsetting.
You know what's hysterical? I've like changed my opinions on a lot of movies in like the intervening few years. Not a thing has changed with the Alien franchise. I'm still exactly where I was.
That's okay. I love them all enough for the both of us.
I know you do. I know. I know you do.
Okay. But thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We have been professionally unprofessional.
You never know.
How are you, Sheriff?
Old.
Who the hell are you?
I'm the sheriff.